that is it's not an easy thing. Well, my journey wasn't easy because I was insecure and I
Mm-hmm.
carried insecurities that literally had me in a chokehold.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that I had to get to a point where I can reveal the fact that I was actually a superhero was questioning the merit in some of the ways that I identified.
Mm.
And the way that I looked at it was, if this is the way that I believe I'm viewed, if this is my identity, questioning the merit of that looked like what I say in my book is a lie identity. Your
Mm.
lie identity is the false perception and a false reality of the way that you view yourself. And
Mm.
the
That's
way,
that imposter.
very much so, it's
Mm.
the imposter. And 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 also in doing that, your identity, your insecurities will have you in your feelings, right? So
Mm.
you're leading with how I feel. I feel like I'm not enough. I feel like I don't belong. I feel like I'm out of my league versus looking at it from a fact base.
Mm.
So looking at that dichotomy of feelings versus facts, the facts are you are in this space and it may be on your own merit, and it may be that you needed help.
Mm-hmm.
And if you did need that help, someone already qualified you to be in that space,
Mm. That's a good
right?
point.
They vouch for you.
What do you do
Hmm.
to make sure that your identity, the way you identify yourself, doesn't curb what really is a superpower? How do you
Yeah.
expose this Superman or Superwoman, Supergirl,
Hmm.
which is another conversation, I
I
suppose,
know.
right? How do you reveal your costume? Like
Yeah.
not even costume. How do you let everyone know I'm a superhero?
Yeah. I think the reality of that is it's not an easy thing. Well, my journey wasn't easy because I was insecure and I
Mm-hmm.
carried insecurities that literally had me in a chokehold.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that I had to get to a point where I can reveal the fact that I was actually a superhero was questioning the merit in some of the ways that I identified.
Mm.
And the way that I looked at it was, if this is the way that I believe I'm viewed, if this is my identity, questioning the merit of that looked like what I say in my book is a lie identity. Your
Mm.
lie identity is the false perception and a false reality of the way that you view yourself. And
Mm.
the
That's
way,
that imposter.
very much so, it's
Mm.
the imposter. And 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 also in doing that, your identity, your insecurities will have you in your feelings, right? So
Mm.
you're leading with how I feel. I feel like I'm not enough. I feel like I don't belong. I feel like I'm out of my league versus looking at it from a fact base.
Mm.
So looking at that dichotomy of feelings versus facts, the facts are you are in this space and it may be on your own merit, and it may be that you needed help.
Mm-hmm.
And if you did need that help, someone already qualified you to be in that space,
Mm. That's a good
right?
point.
They vouch for you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It was worth their time.
Exactly. It was worth their time because if it wasn't worth their time, they would not have invested that time.
Mm.
The other ways that I look at it as well is in my book, I call it the CEO framework.
Mm-hmm.
And the CEO framework is basically celebrating your accomplishments.
Mm.
Oftentimes, high achieving professionals, they get met with an accomplishment, they clap or get the applaud and move on to the next thing,
Mm.
and don't take the time to actually
Mm.
documenting those wins, documenting the lessons learned, documenting the accomplishments,
Mm.
documenting those things that are valuable to the organization, valuable to your growth, valuable to the next steps. So, really taking that inventory. So, when your identity tells you something otherwise and you're caught in your feelings of not enoughness, you can go back to the facts and
Mm.
fact check. I accomplished this. I saved this. I increased this. I was the one who was responsible for this.
Mm.
And I encourage you all to go out and do that every opportunity you get. I typically do it every Friday. I
Mm.
encourage mentees to do it every Friday or once a week so that you can
Mm-hmm.
keep that running report. And then, in addition to celebrating your accomplishments, the other things that I say is, embrace your unique story. Everyone has been through something. Everyone has a tale. But that story doesn't mean that you're less than. My humble beginnings as a girl from the east side of Detroit leads to resourcefulness in the corporate space. Like I can turn a dollar, I can stretch a dollar really long, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of my resourcefulness. And then the O is owning your continuous improvement. Always be aiming to improve. Always be questioning the merit in doubt or insecurity. Always put yourself in spaces where you are elevated versus pulled down. And then the last part that I will say that is really important, sometimes, that inner critic or inner saboteur can have you doubting yourself. So, as you're documenting your wins, also take inventory of the compliments that you have been given
Mm-hmm.
from leaders or your peers or those who have the power and authority over your career. And that's how I find myself dealing with that imposter if it happens to show up. And that's how I turn it around and really lean into it as a superpower.
Mm. That's interesting. I know when you said identity, that really was like, yeah, yeah, because it doesn't like match up with your reputation.
Yeah.
And um I didn't document wins like I should have. And I think really it was just when it was like annual review time,
Mm-hmm.
and it was always so hard to remember what I did because
Yeah.
the minute that I finished a project, I moved on to the next one,
Most people do.
right? So that's quite interesting. Just and documenting wins and also accepting positive feedback. I myself like didn't accept positive feedback, the way that I probably should have, or at least always questioned the validity of it,
Mm.
and that I was like, phew, and always felt like in a moment's notice it could change though,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So documenting those things would have really helped me out because it wasn't until I would be in front of my supervisor and I say, man, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it would take for us to really like, Quentin, you did all of these things. And they were just forgotten.
Yeah.
It was just like, you're right, I did do that at the beginning of the fiscal year. Like
That's so long
that's
ago.
so long ago. And so keeping a running record of it is of what it sounds like what you said, objective accomplishments that might be tied to measurable goals, the
Mm-hmm.
goals that you have since we're talking about an annual review,
Exactly.
but also the subjective feedback. Great
Mm-hmm.
job.
Yes.
And documenting those because those are, I think, your reputation is one thing, but I think those compliments are what really combat that identity.
Sure does.
And so that's some great points, and I heard you mention that you address some of these things, the different CEO framework, identity, imposter syndrome in your book. And I hate to shamelessly plug, but that is where it all started, right? Is you writing that book, and I remember you going through that journey, and that's why I really encourage people that's watching that feel that that have decided to stick around to also consider the book and other
Yeah.
things that you have to offer, because I know firsthand that is real, like
Yeah, it
it,
is.
and that even though people may see you and say, "Wow, she's accomplished all those things," that you still struggle with, this imposter syndrome and
Mm-hmm.
how you would all like how you said you started off like I'm a VP. No, you're Shantel,
Yeah.
right? No, you're Dr. Q Love,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Q Love,
Yes.
and I really appreciate you just sharing that and being so vulnerable. So like as we wrap this up, what's the last thing, like, if you were sitting right now talking to young Chantel,
Mm-hmm.
right? The girl from Detroit, right? Who is in need of this success,
Mm-hmm.
quite literally, right? Because of where she's from, but thinks that she's phony.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you know what you know, and that you struggle with it, as someone that has a record of proven success, top 40 under 40 and all
Yeah.
these accomplishments, to the audience member, to previous Chantel, what would you tell yourself about imposter syndrome?
Yeah. I would say that every single experience that you have is meant to grow you.
Mm.
The good experiences, the not so good experiences, the bad ones, all of it is meant to grow you if you allow yourself the opportunity to take a lesson from it.